Our next story is about Africa and a battle taking place over the continent, a shadowy battle for influence. Now, as most of you know, Africa suffered under European colonization. It was known as the Scramble for Africa. The continent was carved up by Western powers and mercilessly exploited. Even today, the scars of that colonization are very visible. But before the old wounds could fully heal, a new scramble has already begun. The key players are Russia, China and the US. They're not looking to colonize Africa this time. What they are doing is expanding their influence by offering economic assistance. It's an old trick. Come in with promises of aid and then stick around for the resources. The entire African continent has seen this before, but they clearly haven't learned from history. This week, the US sealed two deals in two different corners of the continent. Tanzania in the east and Ghana in the west. Let's start by looking at Tanzania. It is in East Africa. The largest city there is Dar es Salaam. It is home to the nation's largest port. In fact, it is Africa's fourth largest port on the Indian Ocean side, making it extremely important for trade. And the US wants to take advantage of this. So it has offered to pay $250 million to develop a railway line through Tanzania. Now, $250 million is no joke. So why is the US being so generous? Two reasons. First, it will help American trade via the Lobito Corridor. Lobito is a port city on the other side of Africa in Angola. The US is developing a port there too and creating a rail corridor that begins there. This railway line will pass through four African nations: Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia, and then finally Tanzania. The corridor will cut through the entire African continent, connecting the Atlantic and the Indian Oceans. And that's not all. It will also link ports with mines, the ports of Lobito and Dar es Salaam, with mines in the DRC and Zambia. Now, when you join the dots, what do you see? A grand plan to exploit Africa's mineral wealth. This is America's plan. And Tanzania was the last part of the puzzle, hence the $250 million investment. This is the first reason. The second reason is the scramble for influence in Africa. And here the US is competing with China. China already has a strong presence in the region. It has multiple mines in Zambia. It is also investing in railway stations and renovations. So the US is basically playing catch up. And with this latest move, Washington will be hoping to one-up Beijing. How will China respond? Well, it already has. You see, for years, China was pouring money all over Africa, approving loans worth over $10 billion every year. But those loans dried up. They were on the decline since 2016. But recently, that trend has changed. A new study is out. It says last year, China increased its lending to Africa. It is definitely wary about losing influence. Meanwhile, the US is doubling down on its Africa plans. I mentioned their second victory in Ghana. Look at this press release from the US State Department. It announces a landmark commercial agreement with Ghana for a small nuclear reactor project. Now, Ghana has been trying to get a nuclear reactor for a while now, and it has been weighing up offers from 5 countries: China, South Korea, France, Russia, and the US. Companies from these 5 countries were bidding for the contract. Now, it seems the American company has won. The agreement was signed yesterday. This is a major win for the US. It has been lagging behind in the African nuclear race. It's been losing out to Russia in a number of countries. At one point, Moscow looked unbeatable in Africa, but now Washington has pulled off an upset. Russia and China won't take this lying down, though. Beijing is already handing out more loans. Moscow may take similar actions. The only thing we can say for sure is that the new scramble for Africa is on.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for a future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C.